Okay, and welcome back for more Duelyst. Another round of 8 game here from Fate's Clash of Mythron 2. We've got Kieran versus Min1k. Since you've already covered Min1k's decks, we'll have a look at Kieran's first. I should mention I'm joined by Blatm once more.
Hello.
Yeah, look at these decks. So Kieran's bought Liner, he's a bit of a Liner main, and Songhai. I know he was playing a lot of Songhai elsewhere outside the tournament, but he's got two rather different decks from the usual fare.
Yeah, I'm really excited by both of these decks. A lot of cards I think are really solid and really underrated. Like the Lionar deck has Shield Oracle. I think this card is like a lot better than it looks. I'm really excited to see that. And Suntide Maiden also, I think, yeah, that's a solid card. Red Sinja, solid, really looking forward to seeing these things that are like not standard, but definitely are better than people give them credit for.
Yeah, on the subject of Shield Oracle, I think part of the reason at the moment why it could be good is because not everyone's internalized all the interactions it has. Like if you have Mythron hit it and your general, it only hits this guy. Your general remains unscathed, and you might not necessarily be expecting that. There's a couple of other sort of interesting things like that. If you don't know how it works, you might fall into a little bit of a trap with it and do a misplay.
Yeah, like it protects you from Encanter, it protects you from Holy Immolation, it even protects you from Grasp of Agony.
Yeah, and even like outside those like things, I think it's like pretty good for like it eats like the overkill damage and stuff. Yeah, it's just got a couple of nice little utility spots, and Kieran's not running any artifacts, but if you are running artifacts, it's also pretty decent alongside those.
Oh yeah, that's definitely one of the stronger things you can do with it. And other than that, I think it's kind of interesting that there are only 8 2-drops. It seems like it's kind of on the low end, but have a lot of comeback mechanics, especially with Triple Tempest on the turns where you can double Tempest. That's really good.
Yeah, they've trimmed a little bit. As for their Songhai deck, they've not gone for the like usual spell high endgame. They've got for a bit of a more mid-rangey kind of fare that will be able to battle out a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, I mean, Scarlet Viper is if you can inner focus that multiple times, that's a lot of damage. Hammond also super underrated. It's also cool to see what they're cutting, right? So they don't have Saber Spine Seal, but they do have the triple killing edge. So that's kind of cool that they sort of chosen a Songhai that's not, it's not the full aggro Songhai that you see a lot. It's something sort of more in the middle, and I think that's going to do really well.
Yeah, I think this Sworn Avenger could be fun. That was a card that was like picking up a little bit of popularity towards the end of 1.96 because Vitruvian just didn't really have a way to answer it pre 3 mana. And when it gets going, like it can take over a game pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, so here Kieran is choosing to play it over Heartseeker, which is totally justifiable. But that's an interesting choice.
Anyway, it'll be interesting to see how these decks match up against Min1k, who we've already seen a little bit. How do you think these matchups might go, and which one Min might bring first?
Yeah, so the Lionar deck that Min1k has seems like it might have a bit of a hard time against Kieran's Lionar deck. Because, in general, in the Lionar mirror, you don't want to be just like a little bit slower than your opponent, or a little bit faster than your opponent, because you don't really have quite enough pressure to sort of really outspeed them, and you're just going to get outvalued. But I think that the creep deck that Min1k has might do really well. But then the creep deck, I don't know, it can have trouble against Songhai, so it might be tricky.
Yeah, I think this creep deck has a good sort of mixture of healing and burn to get the work done. It's not running Archon, but it should be fine. Kieran's list isn't running Blood Rage Masks, so there's no need for Rustcrawler. I think this specialist looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, I mean, against like the more burn Songhai, this creep deck can definitely do okay. Just because of 3 Void Pulse, for example. But if your opponent's playing these threats that sort of, you sort of have to answer them, otherwise you're going to lose, like Hammond, that can be really hard for the creep deck. So
yeah, that's true. There is no way to deal with that in Min1k's deck until, I guess, the second Nova, which is quite a way off 5 mana of a Hammond.
So it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. So one of the downsides of Shield Oracle is that playing at turn 1 is not super impressive.
Yeah, did you guys change its stat line here? Yeah, to 0/5. Was it like a 1/4?
It was a 1/4 initially, and we decided to buff it. It's a really big difference between 1/5. Here also, there's an interesting choice, right? That Kieran could have played it not directly behind their general, and used the damage prevention at a more opportune time. Right now, Min1k can run the Abyssal Crawler in and start getting damage on that Shield Oracle. And I don't know if that's what Kieran wants.
Yeah, it looks like they're not going to do that though. Just having a little Gubera able to take a mana tile at your leisure is a nice little bonus.
And you can see Kieran already is lining up for the late game. They kept
these Dispels,
Late Bender in their opening hand. And so I think that they're going to try and just like outlast the Novas, which is totally viable. Like, you can just survive through all of it if you want to.
Yeah, once like there's only a certain amount of damage the Abyss that can really do, like their main ways of killing you through Revenant and the Shadow Nova. Once the Novas are blunted, I suppose, by these Lightbenders, it's a big deal. But interestingly, on this turn, I'm just looking at this Oracle protecting the Suntide Maiden. That's going to be a bit difficult to kill.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrifying for Kieran here because, of course, if Min1k has the Night Sorrow, then that's a disaster. Ooh. But if they don't have a Night Sorrow, then you're just doing amazingly, right? Because probably it isn't going to get cleared, and then you Divine Bond it next turn, and then it gets healed up. Like it just really gets out of hand really fast.
I do think that's a gamble worth taking. Like the reward for them not having it is pretty huge.
Yeah, I mean, you probably just win the game, honestly.
But luckily for us spectators, they had it, so we get to continue on.
Shield Oracle has this fun mini game where you want to try and protect it because it does have 0 attacks, so your opponent gets some free trades into it. So a lot of it is about like, how do you make it so your opponent can't hit the Shield Oracle directly.
Yeah, it's like quite a funny turn because this little 0 attack Shield Oracle can't like attack into anything, and obviously you want it to be like backline or back safe, but have to position it for the immo there. But it gets healed up, so
yeah, I think that Kieran, all of this, is thinking that they're really in it for the long game. So a few awkward turns early on might not matter, right? Kieran is thinking that the Nova deck is just like a super late game deck and isn't going to win sort of in the mid game. I'm not sure that that's true. The Nova deck doesn't really need to win with Novas. I mean, they're also just sort of a solid mid range deck, and Kieran's already at 11, so it's kind of scary.
Yeah, I quite agree. I think that's like a part of what makes that deck so strong. Is that you're not really giving up that much to have a pretty good late game. Like, these Spectre Revenants are amazing anyway. And sort of the only creep concession you're making is around these 1 mana 2/1s, which actually aren't even that bad for like, chaining your Night Sorrow Assassins into good positions or just being cheap little sources of 2 damage. And yeah, the rest of your deck just has so much like healing and damage. It's hard to go wrong.
Yeah, it's definitely what makes the deck tricky to play against is that it can have like a variety of game plans. I mean, there's some games where you don't even really need to play Novas at all, and I think this is really nice. Red Sinja is
It's a nice Sinja, yeah.
it's a good card. But yeah, I think Kieran needs to start worrying about their life total a little bit here, and the removal isn't super efficient, right? They're not running martyrdoms. They're only running the Circle of Life, so their next turn is probably going to be it has the Void Pulse too.
Very nice.
Yeah, well played. By Min1k. I think Kieran sort of underestimated how mid-rangey that the Abyss deck could be. Playing too much late game.